Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of our brand new podcast series, Bits and Breaches. I'm truly excited to kick off this journey with all of you. Through this series, we will be bringing you insightful conversation on cybersecurity, law, technology, and the challenges that businesses, professional, and individual face in our fast changing digital world. This is just the beginning, and we will continue to have thought provoking discussion with experts and leaders in the field of episode ahead. And what better way to begin our series with a very special guest today. When we say defending right across the digital, personal and constitutional spectrum, let's welcome Rohit Kapoor, who is a distinguished lawyer with a unique blend of legal expertise and technical know-how, with a strong foundation in technology and a deep understanding of cyber laws. Rohit bridges the gap between technology and law, helping clients navigate the complexity of digital world. His extensive experience enable him to offer expert legal counsel on a wide range of issues including cybercrime, data breaches, online fraud and privacy law. Rohit Kapoor is a trusted partner for those seeking to bridge the gap between technology and law, ensuring the secure, ethical, and compliant use of digital technologies in today's interconnected world. Rohit, it's an honor to have you here with us on Bits and Breaches. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm looking forward to a great discussion.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So, Rohit, I mean, without waiting a much, I know you are advocate, and so when we say advocate, the first thing that you are working in a court, right, and helping uh, your clients to get that justice, right. But nowadays, when we talk about that, lawyers are also involved heavily into the cyber law and everything because laws is tightening their grip into cyber security, right. So let's start with, I have few questions, right. Let's start with, when we say cyber security compliance, right, why it has become such a pressing issues for the businesses today.
So today, data which the companies or organizations are storing, it's like an oil, or you can say money. So every business, big or small, is handling people's personal or financial data. It could be a hospital management system, or a shop which is selling something online, or a fintech app which is processing your payments. They all have, our personal and financial information. And because cyber attacks are happening every day, hackers just
Really.
don't target big companies.
Mm-hmm.
When small businesses get hit, that's why government has made stricter rules, and compliance simply means following these rules. How you collect data, how you keep safe, and what do you do if something goes wrong. So if business ignores compliance, the risks are huge. Heavy fines, legal trouble for the owners, loss of investors, and worst of all, losing the trust of your customers. So compliance is just not about paperwork or ticking boxes. It's actually about protecting your business and keeping your customers intact.
Interesting. So it is only the large corporation that should worry, Rohit, or do startup and even the small businesses also face these compliance related risks?
So this is a very common question. It applies to everyone. Law doesn't say only if you are a large company, then you need compliances. So if you are collecting customer data, even something as simple as name, emails, or phone numbers, you have compliance obligations. In fact, smaller businesses are often more vulnerable because they don't usually have dedicated IT and legal teams.
Right.
Hackers know this, so they target them more frequently, and regulators don't excuse non-compliance just because you are small.
No, I think you're rightly said. When we are, working in our organization and handling those small clients now, we found them heavily non-compliant in terms of deploying of deploying of those security controls, or not following the best practices where they can safeguard our data, or they can provide us services in a very secure manner. But you are rightly said, right? So let's move the gear a little, switch, right? Now the regulations around security and data protection are evolving very quickly, because we see technology are changing very rapidly. Now you see AI and ML have taken a very large space in the digital the arena basically. From your
Right.
perspective, right, what are some of the most important laws and regulations businesses should be aware in India and globally?
Okay. So, like the first and foremost is our IT Act 2000,
Mm-hmm.
so which is the backbone of Indian cyber law.
Hmm.
Then there are certain guidelines. So, certain is a government organization. So, it mandates like incident reporting in within 6 hours. Then there's Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. So this act was passed by Parliament in the year 2023, and government has almost finalized its rules, and uh, we are waiting for the notification. It can become effective anytime soon. So this you can call it as it is as India's GDPR.
Okay, cool. And do you see Indian laws like align more with the global standard like GDPR, and then we are seeing some NIST, or let's say some HIPAA or SOX. So do you see that our laws are aligned with those standards?
Right. If you see DPDP Act, so
Mm-hmm.
this is like almost similar to we have GDPR in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
That's why we call it as India's GDPR.
wow.
So,
That's great, great, good to hear. Because we, in our back house as well, just
hmm,
have started working on implementing and taking those, the direction and guidance from the DPDP Act also. Because
right,
since, as you said, it's mandatory to have everyone on board with this DPDP, right?
right,
So,
right.
uh, what are those biggest challenges, right, or mistake that company makes when handling customer data? And I mean, this may be the question in the connection of DPDP Act only. So what are those the biggest mistake company made basically while handling those data?
So the first thing is that companies are not having clear policies
Mm-hmm.
around. So they are storing either too much of data without reason.
Hmm.
Employees are not aware why they are doing that.
Hmm.
They are not reporting if there are any breaches on time.
Hmm.
So many companies also forget that third party vendors like payment gateways or cloud services must also be compliant.
Hmm. Hmm.
These are like few common mistakes I see business making again and again when it comes to customer data. The first one is like the biggest is the collecting too much of data.
Hmm.
So companies often ask for every possible detail, even things they don't really need.
Hmm.
The more data you hold, the bigger your responsibility is and higher the risk if
Right.
it is so.
And let's say I found, I as a normal user, you see in India, like people are collecting Aadhaar card, PAN card, and that
Hmm.
has become a very common practice, and people are just throwing that information in a way that they are not even aware that how this information
Right.
can be set back against them, right?
Miss-
So let's say one smart user, right, and he or she found that my data is used against the intended use by some company, then
Hmm.
as per the DPDP Act, I know there would be some rights given to that user, because ultimately it's all about the data, right? So what should be
Right.
that process, right, and what user should do, that he or she should approach you, or is there any other forum where I mean that user can approach basically if he found something used against that intended use?
So DPDP Act has a provision for consent manager.
Hmm. Okay.
So every user like who has provided the data to any organization, he has a
Hmm.
right
Hmm.
either to get that data erased or to modify that data.
Right.
And in case if they fail to comply with that these guidelines, so I think they can. Government is also forming data protection board,
Hmm.
so they can maybe complaint. They can give their complaint there about that company with proper required documentation. So I think things will be more clear soon once the law is finalized. Law is finalized once the rules are finalized and are notified.
I know. I mean, handling all these complaints and these kind of issue is maybe your day-to-day jobs, right? But would you like to share one instance without, I mean, revealing that the confidential information with our viewers, that what maybe that case was, and maybe under the purview of the DPDP Act only, and then what was the basically outcome, and what was the decision given by the court?
So because DPDP Act is not effective in India,
Ha ha ha.
so right now like there is no case registered under it.
Okay.
But definitely, if you remember, sometime back there was a case where Facebook data was leaked.
Okay. Yeah.
Millions of users were impacted.
I can remember that. Yes.
Yeah, so that is like an example. If the data of Indian users is breached, or then I think this will fall under the DPDP Act, and it will attract very severe penalties. And penalties may go up to 250 crore.
Oh, and just a follow-up question to this only, when you mention this Facebook data leak, right? Now, what a government of India can do, because I also saw that there were a resistance from the Facebook that they will not maybe take down
Yes.
something, or they will not release the data, or they will not share that detail, right? So, what government can do, to these tech company when they found that they did not put the proper security to the customer data, and due to that data was maybe breached, right? Now what government has authority, right? What authority government has, and what steps the government can take?
So the law of land is supreme. So
Mm-hmm.
if they have to run their business here, they have to comply with our laws.
Right,
There
right.
is no option.
Okay, cool. I mean, so Facebook and all these company will have to
Yes,
will have to be like, sooner or later they will have to come under the law,
yes,
right?
yes. I think maybe couple of years back there was some issue with the WhatsApp.
Uh-huh.
So
Right.
government was very strict with the way they were handling the data, and they have to like they had to comply with our law finally.
Wow. Okay, so now let's switch the gear, right? And now I got some, suggestion that I should be asking few question for the AI also, right? Because now you see Chat GPT, now you see everything is AI, right? You just do not need to do anything, right? AI will do everything for you, right? Now it is making your life easy, but it is also collecting your the enormous amount of data, personal information, and trust me, like, since I am also a security professional, right? People are giving their professional information like anything, right? So
Right.
when I see this AI uses, right, AI related law, AI uses law, or acceptable law for AI, right?
Hmm.
What law thinks, right? What is the judiciary think about that AI should be used in this manner? And let's say tomorrow, I can recall one instance where in US, and you must be knowing, I mean, you can confirm that in US, one lawyer used Chat GPT to quote some case, right? Later, when judge went to that decision for that case, he found that the case itself was not there, right? So I mean, I
Yes.
think he terminated the license of that lawyer because he that uses of that AI was not in that aligned to the judiciary, right? So how do you see
Right.
that uses of AI, and should we have a very strict law of for the AI? I mean, what is your perspective? I mean, if you can just throw some light.
I think this is more of like proper use of AI. I
Yeah.
think just to make your life easy, you just cannot rely on that,
Mm-hmm.
because How AI works is you need to understand that first. It
Hmm.
learns from huge data sets.
Right.
The problem is who owns that data.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Was it collected with consent, or whether the source was authorized or not?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So you are not aware. So the chat GPT, the results it's giving you back,
Hmm.
it all depends on the data it was trained upon. So you just simply cannot trust that output blindly. So, and being a lawyer, I think it's a very responsible job, and you have to make sure whatever you are saying in the court of law or submitting in the court of law should be properly verified. You just cannot rely on any AI model or something, whatever it's saying.
So if I may ask this question, does Indian law or the lawyers or like you, since you are working in a very
Hmm.
prestigious, the organization, right? You use AI, Chat GPT, for to quote something, to refer something, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I do not know, like, if it is making sense, but is it like happening in India right now that everyone, since we are using AI for, let's say, drafting the email,
Hmm.
some, information on some topic and whatnot, right, for study purpose, but is it like already happening in the judiciary field also, that they take AI reference to find something, or to, I mean, like, what is the stand there, right, of this AI uses?
No, I think judiciary is going by the book. They are not
Hmm.
taking any reference from the AI.
Wow, this
Yeah.
is great. I
So they
think,
are.
and my audience should take a note that, Indian judiciary is still going with the fact, right, and that's a great, statement, right, that we are not, blindly, going behind the
Right, right, right,
right,
right.
right. So
Yes. Well, like you have your bare acts, your
right.
other acts. Like AI is not a reliable source, not an authorized source.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So, like I shared earlier, you are not aware what kind of data
Hmm.
it's trained upon and what was the source of that data. So it's like garbage in, garbage out.
Right, right, right. So then AI is in already place, right? People are using that. There are regulatory bodies who are making the framework to govern the uses of AI, right? Now that
Hmm.
when the governance will come in place, the judiciary will also put some, will also, bring some law to
Yes.
to strict the AI uses, and bring that also under the law, right? Basically, right.
Right.
Now,
Right.
with that happening, Rohit, so what changes do you expect in Indian cyber law, basically, related to data
Right.
protection regulation over the next, let's say, 4 to 5 years? Like,
5 years.
how do you see this, like, uh, changes?
So, like this is a compliance issue. Like
Hmm.
if an Indian company is storing data in US,
Hmm.
on the US servers,
Hmm.
so which law applies?
Hmm.
Indian, American, or both?
Hmm. Hmm.
But India's DPDP Act
Hmm.
allows the government to restrict transfer to certain countries, much like European Union does under GDPR.
Hmm.
So companies will need to maintain data localization strategies,
Hmm. Hmm.
ensure that they have proper agreements in place,
Hmm. Hmm.
and sometimes even keep sensitive data inside India.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So these compliances need to be followed. So the big picture is that compliance is no longer one country, one law issue.
Hmm.
With AI, blockchain, global data flows, businesses needs to be prepared for the multi-jurisdictional, constantly evolving legal environment. The companies that succeed will be the one that bake compliance into their innovation process instead of treating it as an afterthought.
I can understand, right? So, I mean, with that change that you foresee, and it's greatly explained, right? Great, thank you. So, what advice would you give to a business leader who are just starting their business, right? And
Mm.
future, they want to be future proof, right? They do not want to be any sort of, a situation where they found to be non-compliant by not following
Right.
the IT Act, or why not applying those DPDP recommendation into their IT infrastructure, right? So what advice you as a lawyer, right? Because now you are expert into the DPDP Act, right? You are expert in IT Act, right? And many of the people are not even aware, not even heard these terminologies, right? They just use without even thinking twice, right? So what would be that advice, from your that for that person who is starting their business and they want to be compliance completely?
So my first advice is that make compliance a board level priority,
Hmm. Wow.
like where they are taking all the important decisions. So compliance should be the one which should be like the priority of the board.
Ha ha ha.
So they should also appoint a data protection officer or a legal advisor early,
Hmm. Hmm.
because these are required as per the DPDP Act.
Hmm.
I don't think there is any business which is not using personal data of users,
Hmm.
either it's their customers or vendors or employees. So build a culture where employees treat data like money,
Hmm.
carefully and responsibly.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So they should know what data they are collecting, where it's stored, who has the access. Many companies don't even have this clarity.
Hmm.
They should have a privacy policy,
Hmm.
internal data protection guidelines.
Hmm.
They should also conduct employee awareness sessions.
Hmm.
Then there should be incident management response plan. They
Hmm.
should be prepared if any breach happens,
Hmm. Hmm.
how to report it to certain, because there's as per certain it should be reported within 6 hours.
Hmm.
They
Okay.
should also inform the affected customers. It's
Hmm.
mandatory. So compliance isn't once and done. Regular audits, legal reviews, these all are required. And you are if you are up to date with new regulations, so you know they have to work on that and they have to take this on top priority.
Right. Or let's say if a company have started their business recently, and they are dealing
Hmm.
the data of the global the customer as well, EU, the US, and the India also, right? And so
Hmm.
what would be that procedure like? That business will have to comply for all three, the data protection law, or it's only the
Right, right. I if give you an example,
huh.
like suppose you are processing data of some European company.
Mm-hmm.
So this will fall under GDPR. So
Okay.
you have to see whether that data is allowed to be transferred to India or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have also categorized whether that data should be stored locally in their country and cannot be transferred to any other country.
Mm-hmm.
So those compliances should be there. So that's why I'm saying that it's not like a local jurisdiction or local law which can be applied. So it's a global world. You have to you have to know and follow, like even the global laws like GDPR,
Hmm.
and they have to be in sync with India's DPDP Act. So it's a multi-dimensional environment now.
So basically, you cannot escape. Like wherever you go, whatever business you do, whatever data you handle, you have to be comply, right? You
Right.
cannot
Right.
escape yourself, right?
Like, so if any MNC which is working in India, they
Uh-huh.
have offices in Europe and
Huh.
in India or
Huh.
in America. So they have to like comply with all these laws,
Hmm.
India's DPDP, Europe's GDPR.
Hmm.
So there is no escape.
Right, right, right. And I think it's a good, the education also for the people who are listening, right? So I think those who are planning to start their business, I think you should follow this, the direction very clearly, right? So let's move the gear, Rohit, now a little bit. Now we have talked about compliance, we have talked about AI, the penalties, the risk, and what to do, what not to do, right? So
Hmm.
now there is an audience, right? There are people, right, who feels that this is a great career option for them, right? Now cyber
Hmm.
security is one, then the compliance is the is second, and then nowadays people are also taking very seriously, right? Because I know many folks, right, who want to pursue their career into cyber law, right? And if
Right.
I say that many of the listeners are student aspirants, right, and even the professional also, and they have less or the partial, visibility or clarity about the cyber law, right? But they are doing into cyber security domain, right? So
Mm.
uh, how they can prepare themselves, right? If someone want to pursue this career, right, how they can prepare themselves to understand first of all, right, and work in this compliance, driven environment, because it there is nothing without compliance, right? What I heard
Right.
you, what I understood, right? So how someone
Mm.
can prepare for starting his career, basically, or to understand these heavily compliance related, the environment.
Mm. So there are like uh, understand the basics of law and technology together.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose if you are a law graduate,
Mm-hmm.
learn about the data security and IT systems.
Hmm.
And if you are from a tech background, learn the basics of IT Act, DPDP Act, and
Right.
GDPR.
Hmm.
You need to be just be updated. Cyber laws change rapidly.
Very.
New amendments, guidelines,
Hmm.
even case laws keep evolving.
Hmm.
Following certain advisories, government notifications,
Hmm.
international trends like GDPR
Hmm.
will give you an edge. I think so. They should build practical skills, do internships,
Hmm.
certifications like ISO
Hmm.
27001,
Hmm.
privacy management training can make them stand out. So students who can speak both the language of law and the language of technology will be in very high demand.
I think I would highly recommend student and aspirant who are listening this. I think they can make a note at that what all certificate and maybe the education, relevant education they can take forward. And one more question maybe that will be asked from a lot of student, that is there any specific institute or these studies or certification can be acquired online, Rohit? I mean.
Yes, like it's a very practical question.
Hmm.
I think government itself provide lot of resources,
Hmm. Hmm.
like certain regularly issues security guidelines and
Hmm.
advisories.
Hmm.
The METI website, Ministry of
Hmm.
Electronics and Information Technology,
Hmm.
DPDP Act notifications, they are
Yeah.
publicly available and free to access.
Hmm.
And for day-to-day awareness, there are online courses, certifications, or even podcasts like this, where founders or students can learn about the basics and they can seek the professional help. So there are a lot of courses freely available on YouTube these days, Udemy. So resources are in abundance.
Right. And if someone, like, let's say some business owner or some
Hmm.
professional, they want to seek some affordable, right, and the legal advice, and they want to practice that, right? So what is that path, right, where they can reach out,
Hmm.
and how they can seek that guidance and help?
So nowadays, many law firms and
Hmm.
independent lawyers
Hmm.
also they are offering compliance packages. So where startups or founders can get step-by-step guidance
Hmm.
without breaking the bank. So they
Hmm.
are very reasonable. Even a basic compliance audit once or twice a year can prevent much bigger losses later on. So, like, and apart from that, the courses or the sources of trainings which I have mentioned,
Hmm.
so
Right.
they can also follow them and they can also build their knowledge around that.
I think it is truly, enlightening for me to know about the compliance, that it is really that we need to, pull up our socks, when we do business, when we handle data, and when
Right.
we, exchange data with one entity to another. Not what the way you have explained, Rohit. I think it's fascinated for me also, being a even a security professional, that I think compliance make amazing sense, right? It is not just that a piece of word or piece of paper policy that we make in
Yes.
our offices, but it is the absolute thing, right? And it can land you in a big trouble. So I think being compliant with law
Yes.
is like the the
Right.
need of the hour, right? You cannot the escape from the compliance, right?
So
Uh,
that's why I'm saying it
uh,
should be a board level
hmm.
priority.
Amazing, right? I think with that said, Rohit, I would now take a minute to thank you again, right? And this was really incredibly insightful and enlightening, I would say. Session and discussion with you. I never felt like I am just asking those questions, but I was just trying to understand that what I am doing and how I can now improve. But I'm taking great amount of takeaway from this discussion, and I think my audience also, wherever they are students, aspirant, or the professional, right, or even the legal professional also, right, they must be hearing this conversation, right, got a very clear picture now that why cybersecurity compliance matters and how to approach it, right? So before we wrap up our discussion, right, is there any final words or key takeaway or key point that you would you like to give to my audience?
Definitely. So firstly, it was a pleasure talking to you, Lokesh.
Thank you.
And for like the audience of this podcast, so please understand that compliance is not about fear. It's
Hmm.
about building trust.
Hmm.
So businesses that embrace it always be ahead of the curve. So thank you once again for having me.
Perfectly said. Thank you once again for joining us, sir, and thank you for our audience for tuning in. Stay safe, stay compliant. See you in our next episode. Thank you. Jai Hind.